Hello, biologists. Today we're going to continue talking about climate change, but I have Parker in the room today, and you never get to see him, so I had to keep it full screen for a minute so you could see the little Parker man. Hi. I hope you could hear that meow. All right, so our first question of lecture is what percent of recyclable plastic is recycled in the US every year? And I want you to make a wild guess based on what you know so far. And the answer is of the estimated 44 million tons of plastic waste managed in 2019, which is the most recent data we have, and this is only in the United States, so this is domestically, approximately 86% was used in the landfill, 9% was burned, was combusted, and 5% was recycled, which feels really discouraging, right? 5% of recyclable material was actually recycled, but it's still better than nothing. And recycling is still a process that we want to be practicing, even if most of the recyclable materials are not actually recycled. Why am I bringing this up? A, we just talked about loss of biodiversity, so we have to be thinking about our role in it as Americans and what we as individuals can be doing. And recycling is something that we can all be doing. And B, I want to show you this graph from a report. I have this article here. Go ahead and read that title to yourself. And then here's the interesting graph I want to show you. Take a moment, pause the video, look over both of your axes, check out what the different lines mean, and ask yourself, what is the independent and dependent variables? We want to practice evaluating data. The independent variable is the thing that you change. So that is what is different in my experimental groups. And the dependent variable is the thing that you measure. So by convention, we put the independent variable on the x-axis. So here, our independent variable is time. That's what's changing. What are we measuring? We're measuring two things. We're measuring A, the amount of plastic waste in thousands of tons. That's in the orange bars. So each of these orange bars, you want to use the y-axis on the left. That is one dependent variable. But then we have another, which is the recycling rate. That's how much of that plastic gets reused and recycled. And that has been pretty consistent despite the fact that these bars are getting bigger and bigger. Our recycling rate is on the other y-axis, the one on the right side. And that is also a dependent variable. So two dependent variables. And we see that since like, the early 2010s, the recycling rate has been pretty constant, but it has grown since we started recycling in the 80s. So what we really want is to see that green line keep track with our our bars, our orange rate. Now I've got another practice question for you. Not only do we want to be able to decipher graphs and look at data, we also want to be able to know if we can trust it. So here's where I got this graph. Pause it, take a moment, read the blurb, and ask yourself, would this pass the CRAP test? Remember, CRAP stands for currency, relevancy, authority, accuracy, and purpose. And we want to evaluate each of those aspects of a paper to determine whether or not it's credible. So you get to make up your own assessment of this and decide if you think it's trustworthy. But I do want you practicing it, and that's why we're bringing it up. So this week for our term, we have a holiday. And so I'm going to make one of your lectures a movie lecture. So I have 2 episodes of Weathered for you to watch. Weathered is a TV show from PBS that's online, and it's all about big weather. It's wonderful. So you're going to start with Not Business as Usual. It's season 5, episode 5. Here's the link to that episode. Please watch it. And then you're going to watch season 5, episode 1, Are We at the Tipping Point? And that link is right here. Both of those are fabulous, totally worth your time. I do want you to know the information in them, which is why I'm including them as part of lecture. I know you're also reading about climate change this week, and so there's a lot of climate change discussion. In our next lecture, we're going to actually get into the nitty gritty of climate change in a full on lecture. And then when you're done with those two episodes, I want you to discuss these questions with yourself or with your loved one or with maybe your cat, but just think about them. What did you learn that you did not know before? What part of these videos affected you the most? And I do think that they're going to affect you because there's some really big, heavy ideas in these videos. And what kind of follow-up questions do you have after watching these videos? Part of being a good scientist is always thinking about what's next, what's further, what else can I learn, what else can I experiment with, what are the implications? Being a good scientist is really being a questioning person, and I know you're good at that. And so I'm excited to think about what you might be asking after watching these episodes. Then after you watch those two episodes, I'd like for you to watch a third, but you get to choose. And if you're so motivated, the entirety of season 5 is like wonderful. Highly recommend you watch every single one. I do have a snippet of weather that's going to be part of your um, lab for the week as well. So one of them might feel a little familiar, but absolutely worth your time. Please do choose at least one more. Let me show you what they are. All right, so we're now at my browser and we're looking at the PBS website. Here is the weather channel. And if you scroll down, you'll see all the episodes. So it's right here, episodes. And you get to choose season 5. There are 7 seasons. They are all good. They are all interesting. Season 5 is the best, though. Season 5 has the strongest science and the information that's most related to our class. So maybe you choose adapt or leave. You can choose the heat is on, water whiplash, all fantastic. Climate crosswords, every single one. Great. So choose which one you find most interesting and please watch a third. All right, that's it for part 1. Email me with questions. I'm curious to hear what you think. Have a good day. Bye.